Good morning, everybody. I'm back again with part 3 of my little series that I've been doing here. Today I'm going to talk about applying different varnishes to the various artworks that I've done. We talked to the part 1 and part 2 about mounting paintings on board. There's one that was mounted on board, and so now the final stage. And the first one I'm going to talk about is a product called cold wax. There's various manufacturers, but Gamblin is my go-to product. They're highly recommended, and there's no worries about the quality of their products. So anyways, just a little bit of discussion. First of all, I'll show you how I apply the cold wax. Now I've done this on acrylic, and I've also done it on my oil painting. So it works on either of those types of mediums. So it's very simple to apply. Basically, I just scoop a little bit up in my finger and rub it into just with my finger, circular motion. I apply a very, very thin layer. And one thing about it, it does not change the color of the work at all, but yet it still protects it. So I'll just do a little corner of this little painting here. Now, I never prepared that little painting with any sprays or varnishes, so it's basically just this was a gouache, and now I'm applying the cold wax. So I let that dry overnight, and I usually give them at least two coats. And the following day, there's one that was finished, and you can leave it matte, but I like to give it a nice circular motion here with a nice soft cloth. And it just gives it a nice glow, and it shows off the texture. It shows off the texture. I'll try and post some of these pictures at the end of my video if I can figure out how to add them to the video. Anyway, so that's one simple process that I've done. I have mentioned that I've done it on oil or acrylic. So this was the other little, my little Van Gogh that we did when we were doing the Peter's series, Peter Hughes, and he was giving us a word a day. This was my version of Starry Nights, a little landscape scene. So I'm just going to show you something here while I've got this picture up. It's amazing how you can put something in a frame, and this is a crazy gold frame that I've mounted that picture on, but I thought it was very suitable for the piece of art. And actually, just to mention gold frames, it's funny how things are regional, but they love them down in Utah and where I go in Idaho and those places where I go to some of the plein air festivals. So we'll set that aside. So that one was done. So by the way, that was acrylic, that little painting. And this one here, I'm going to show you this one here because this is something else I've been playing with. This was one of my photographs, and it was, I called it Coffee Row. But anyway, I mounted this photograph on the board, and then I applied the cold wax. And as a second step to this thing, just to enhance it or do something a little bit different with it, I bought these pan pastels, and I've been playing around with them lately. And so what I did with this, I didn't want to cover too much of the image, and I like the black and white effect. So what I did was I took the pan pastels And I just rub them. I won't, this is finished by the way, but so I won't touch it now, but I rub them on to just vignette the corners. And as you can see, there is some texture from the wax that was applied there. And so that was kind of a neat way to finish it. So I'm gonna try and post that one too. So anyway, pan pastels is something I've been fooling around with, and they're kind of fun. They're very interesting. And so we'll set that aside. Oh, just one more thing that I'm going to show you before I start here. Okay. What I did with, the first one I'm going to show you now here is Liquid-X. It's a product that I really, really like. It's Liquid-X, and it's a varnish, and so there's no mixing or anything involved. You just pour it onto brush it onto your artwork. But this is one thing I would encourage you to do. I've got 3 different types here. I've got matte, and I've got satin, and I've got gloss. So I had this little painting from my Peter Hughes series, I'll call it. And what I did is I divided it into three parts, equal parts there. And on the first one, I applied the matte. The middle one, I applied satin. And the third one, I applied gloss. So I let them dry, and to my surprise, this matte one was shinier than the gloss one. So I don't know if it was mislabeled or what happened there, but it was completely a strange effect. So I've relabeled the bottle and put gloss on it. So I would encourage you, if you do any varnishing, just try it on a painting you're not planning on keeping, just to test it out a bit. And so anyway, that one was my sample one, and I couldn't believe what happened there. I've used this for a long time and never had that happen before, but always something new. So this is a painting that I've done. It was done on paper, mounted on board, and it's acrylic. So I'll show you how I'm going to use the satin this time. Sometimes I usually give these a couple of coats too. Sometimes I'll put the gloss on first, because I do like, I'm a shiny person. I kind of like the shine. I think it brings out the colors. But as well, if you've applied it on the gloss and you feel it's too shiny, you can turn around and put a matte coat right over top of it without doing too much. So here I'm going to show you, it's pretty straightforward if I can get the lid off. Oops, hold on. Okay, I'm not going to fight with this. I guess I'll apply this gloss instead. As mentioned, if I want to go back and put the satin on there, the easy way to get that lid off is to run it under hot water, by the way, but I don't want to take more time in the video. So I'm going to put this gloss on there. Actually, probably on this one, I would end up putting the gloss on as the last final coat anyway, because I just love how the varnish brings out the color. So I apply just a nice, I kind of get an angle on that, and make the coat really as thin as possible. And don't work over it much, just, one pass, overlap a bit. And I'm using I use this brush all the time to varnish. It holds the varnish well, and it's a watercolor brush, I believe. And it leaves a nice, nice smooth finish. You can't see the brush marks too much. So there we go, that's all done. Kind of get side view of it, looks like it's all covered and smooth. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry. And I'll lightly, I'll just set it out of the way here, and excuse me. Sorry about that. I just wanted to put the brush in some pot of water because I didn't want that varnish to dry on there. I just want to mention here, this Liquid X, you can only use that if you're applying over acrylic paint, or if you've fixed the watercolor, you can also use this. It's a water-based product and it cleans up with water. If I'm doing one of my oil paintings, this is the varnish that I like to use. It's Gambar Picture Varnish. And it's already mixed and everything too, but I use this on my oil paint. You can use this over your acrylic paints as well, but I quit doing that because sometimes if I have an older acrylic painting and I want to do a little bit of something to it, once you've applied this oil-based, or you almost have to be a chemist in this stuff, but you can't apply acrylic over oil, but you can apply oil over acrylic. And okay, so that's about it. I guess, oh, there's one more thing. This is another little Peter series that I mounted, and I put a matte finish on that, and it depends on the painting as to whether I'm going to, as I mentioned, going to use matte or the gloss. But anyways, this one I thought, it looks like a Roberta picture, I know, but anyway, it's done with matte, and it was acrylic on paper, mounted on board. Now I'm going to show you another thing here too. All my stuff doesn't turn out, that's for sure. And this paint, this is what the one I did the other day. I'm going to hold that a little bit closer if I can. I had fixed that as a watercolor. I fixed it with 4 coats of the spray, Krylon spray. I think it was parts 1 and 2 of the series I did. And then I decided to play around with this a bit more, and I had some resin. So this had a nice little lip on it, and I thought, okay, that'll be perfect to put the resin on. Well, the resin turned out really quite well. It doesn't have any bubbles in it. I'd probably give it another layer if I hadn't ruined the picture. But if you can see, some of this resin affected the painting underneath, whether the seal wasn't tight enough or what, I don't really know what happened there. But yeah, it's good to have these little things around and play with them, and don't use your best paintings and try something like this. With all this COVID stuff going on, I've been doing a lot of experimentation. So I think that's all I had to show you today, and well, thanks for watching these things. I hope that you were able to learn something, and I would really appreciate any feedback of what you think works and what you think doesn't work. So wishing everybody a nice day. Thank you.